going on? It's Yuri with the GT Nuts Superfan Group. So today, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but occasionally I tend to race BMX, whenever I can. Last year I didn't even really have any time to do it, so hopefully this year I'll be doing a lot more BMX racing. I race cruiser class, as you can tell. So this is a pretty cool bike. This is a 2012 GT Speed Series Expert 24. It's a cruiser. I thought that getting back into mountain biking, I would also kind of complement my skills doing BMX, just because I think BMX is a great skill to have if you're going to go into BMX racing, especially, or even freestyle. I think either way, but they're still good. It's a great set of skills to have. I don't know, BMX racing, you really find out if you made some good line choices or not in like less than 40 seconds of a race. So this bike's interesting. You're probably wondering or noticing that it has red line parts, and I have a great story for that. I used to be a youth cycling mountain bike coach for a middle school through high school group. And what happened is, Redline was one of the sponsors for this league, and I actually did a lot of the parts came off of Redline MX24 Pro, just because we're getting a killer deal. Anyway, by the time I ended up having a sponsorship with the GT Coalition, I had already left the league. I had a falling out with the cycling director of this league, just because we have a difference of opinion. She didn't believe in kids going off jumps or anything. I mean, honest to God, or hitting any drops. It's like, no, you got to keep both wheels on the ground. And she was always worried about getting sued. And I think if you're gonna have this kind of league, right, like a mountain bike league, there's inherent risks. And I think if not teaching kids how to hit the jumps right, how not to take drops, and trying to just roll everything is more dangerous than actually just trying to teach the kids the proper technique to go off small drops like a curb, or just basic stuff. And she was just so worried about getting sued all the time, so it was a pain, and I left. But anyway, found these two frames at Dance Comp. Here's the other frame I haven't built up. This is a spare in case I were to ever break this or got stolen. But I love it. So let's go over the bike front to back. So it's got a Redline chromoly fork on here. These are the sunroom Rhino lights, 24-inch wheels. I actually like these a lot. They're really sturdy. I mean, any Rhino light wheels, just in general, even for mountain biking, they're going to be ridiculously strong. This runs the Tioga Power Block 24 by 1.75s. The PSI I run on these is about roughly, I think, 60 PSI on this. And sometimes like even just 40 if it's going to be a softer or rougher track. A Redline hollow point stem, Tektro V-brake. My buddy Walt Dorsey gave me these grips, and these are cool. Nothing some hairspray. These are not lock-on grips, so you just clean these out, wipe them down really good with 70% rubbing alcohol, let it dry, spray some super hold hairspray, and let it dry and cure on here, and you'll be cutting these off even when it's raining and stuff. But as you can tell, I really torque the hell out of these, so maybe it would be good to get lock-ons. But they're blue, they kind of go with the theme of the bike, so I kept it going. Here is it's almost like a trials bike in a way, because with this, it's a plastic seat. It's good for just sitting for like a few seconds before your gate starts. So here's a really unique design about this bike. Here what happens is this actually tightens the seat post, and it goes through the whole entire frame. So it's a really cool design. Here it runs the Redline hub. I forget what cassette I'm running in the back on here, how many teeth I'm running in the back. This is of course a Redline cassette and a 175 millimeter crank arm. And it comes with chain tensioner. So when you do both this bike and that are Dan's Comp returns. So Dan's Comp, they had 2 bikes obviously that were returned, and they were clearing out the bikes for about, I think I bought both, I think ballpark $100 each. So you know, and they come with the parts. So they come with this gold piece, the tensioners, and there's if you can pretty much press in, you know, just your standard, like you have your bottom bracket options here, and they'll give you some green Loctite for this, and then you just apply the green Loctite, press in the bottom bracket piece, so you can run the 3-piece crank like you see here, with an external bottom bracket configuration, and you know, and that's it. It's kind of funny, I've entertained this bike has gotten me in a lot of top 3 spots here. I race locally at SeaTac, you know, and I love the wing design. It's just really awesome. Like, you can't beat that. Like, even here, you know, its frames are pretty light. You can tell what kind of headset you're gonna need roughly just by looking at this here. Made in Taiwan, serial numbers, stuff like that. But yeah, I have this spare in case I were to ever break this bike or the previous frame. So I was like, I gotta be careful here. And this is a glass table, so I just didn't want it to slam. But as you can tell how the seat tube rolls, you're getting some really cutting edge, in-depth photos or video here, the brake bosses. So I just, these are, you know, GT just makes some really beautiful frames. So, and the handlebar, I think the width wise, I'm just running it right in the I want to say it's a 680. Yeah, it's got to be roughly about 680. I don't think it's more than 700. I forget, because this all came completely, the handlebar, stem, fork, headset, brakes, wheels, chain, crankset, and actually, no, I take that back. Even the seat posts, they all came off of the Redline, so MX Pro. And yeah, think about it. So it was a quick, nice, inexpensive build. Actually, between the MX Pro and this bike, I actually like the performance. I mean, that's biased because I represent GT, right? But it's a really fun, snappy bike. It's super easy to wheelie for sure, and it's definitely a little bit easier to try to do a manual on, so I like it. Anyway, that is pretty much it. Pretty short pretty short video, just because you know, God, yeah, it's a BMX bike, so it doesn't have that many gears, just a nice solid good one. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm more than happy to answer them. You know, I've entertained getting a new GT Speed Series bike, you know, like a 20-inch, so I could actually race 20 or class and cruiser. So that's kind of, I'm debating if I'm going to do that. Hopefully, you know, if I do, I can. And also, for those of you that race locally, I race at SeaTac typically. You know, you can check out ctacbmx.org. They got a schedule. They're going to be doing like a once a month Sunday BMX race for those people like me that are kind of pressed for time. So anyway, check them out. I think they're going to be putting out the race dates for that, since it's already 2020. So other than that, thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.